Hi everybody, thanks for taking the time to watch my video. This is for my CP class, so if you are in my first or sixth period, we're going to go over some questions that were on our test, the fractions, decimals, percents test. So we're going to start with the bonus, and then we're going to solve the rest of these questions as well, as we don't have time in class to go over all of them. Let's take a look at the bonus. The bonus asked us to evaluate A, B, C. For A is 3/4, B is 5, and C is 3/5. What you need to know already is that there is an operation going on in between these variables. In fact, multiplication is implied in between A and B. So this is saying A times B times C. So what I've set up already, I substituted A for 3/4, B for 5, but I changed B to a fraction, 5/1, and C as 3/5. So we're just going to multiply these three fractions. From our last unit, we learned that everything needs to be a fraction, and we've done that. We've changed 5 to 5/1, and now we need to simplify. In my numerator and denominator, I have a 5, so those can be simplified to 1s. And from my last unit, we learned that multiplying is very easy. All we need to do is multiply across. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 1 is 4, and that 4 times 1 is another 4. Okay. So 9/4 is your answer, but we need to simplify it. 4 goes into 9 2 times, because 4 times 2 is 8, and I have one piece left over. My denominator stays the same. 2 1/4 should be my final answer for your bonus. So you got 2 points for that. Let's take a look at some other test questions. Number 2 is asking, what is 2% written as a decimal? We could figure this out a few different ways, but 2% means 2 out of 100, because we know that percents are out of 100. If I were to read this, this says 2/100. Which of one of my options is read as 2/100? Well, that's option H. Okay. So my answer is choice H. Another strategy to go from a percent to a decimal, remember, if I'm in the alphabet and I'm at the letter P and I want to get to the letter D, I need to move my, I need to travel to the left. So my decimal in 2% needs to be moved once, twice to the left. And when we do that, we get 0.02 or 2/100. Number 3 asks, what's 38% written as a fraction in simplest form? We should always put everything in simplest form. So percent means out of 100, so 38% means 38 out of 100. And a common factor between 38 and 100 is 2. So when we simplify, always keep it simple. Let's divide by 2. 38 cut in half is 19. 100 cut in half is 50. So 19/50 should have been your answer. Choice A. Number 7 says, what is 5% of 80? Using estimation, or using my 10% rule, I know that 10% of 80 is just 8. So if 10% of 80 is 8, 5% of 80 should be half of 8. Choice B. Another way we could have done this is I could multiply 80 times 5% as a decimal. 5% as a decimal is 5/100. As we multiply through, I have 2 place values behind my decimal, move it twice, so 4.0. Find 230% of 46. Well, 100% of 46 is 46. So 200% of 46 is going to be twice as big. Okay, so I know my answer is going to be at least bigger than 46. So if you look at these options, which option is bigger than 46? Okay, only one of them is bigger than 46. So that's a test-taking strategy when it comes to multiple choice. If you didn't know that, we could multiply 46 times 230% as a decimal. So 230%, I'm going from a percent to a decimal and move my decimal 2 places to the left. So 46 times 2.3. You should, I'm not going to take the time to multiply it out. You should know how to multiply. You should have the digits 1058, and I have one place value behind the decimal, so my decimal goes one place value to the left. So choice, for number 7 you have choice B, and number 8 you should have choice F. Okay. All right, moving on. Number 10 says, what is 65% of 220? If we were to estimate, what's half of 220? Well, half of 220 is 110. So if I'm looking not for 50% of 220, which is 110, but 65% of 220, my answer needs to be bigger than 110. So I can eliminate choice F because that's not bigger than 110. What we learned is we need to take 65%, change it to a decimal, of means to multiply by 220. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Drop a 0 for a space holder. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So we add up our place values. We have a 3, a 4, and a 1. I have 2 place values behind the decimal, so I move my decimal place twice. 143.00 gives us this answer. Choice G. Okay. 11 says, which fraction is greater than 1/2? Well, I know that 1/2, we can cut things in half. So, oh, you know what? As I'm looking at this is not the same question as your test. So we're going to have to eliminate this one completely. I'm really sorry. I should have taken more time to analyze this question. It's not the same one as the one on your test. So if you really can't figure this one out, you can come in and see me. But you should be able to look at a fraction and decide if it's bigger than 1/2 or not. Okay. Number 12, which of the following orders 75%, 1/6, and 0.625 from least to greatest? If you noticed, choice F and H are the same, and choice G and I are the same. That's because there was one extra number in here and I took it out. So I would have accepted either answer. Strategy-wise, what we need to do is change each to a decimal or each to a percent. I'm going to change each to a decimal. 75% as a decimal is 0.75. 1/6 as a decimal, we need to divide. 1 divided by 6. Okay, so go over here. 6 does not go into 1. So we need to add a 0. 6 goes into 10 once. When I subtract, I have a remainder of 4. Drop another 0. 6 goes into 40 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. When I subtract, I have a remainder of 4, which is the same remainder that I had earlier. So my answer is 0.16 repeating. And then we have 0.0625. So down here, I'm going to line up my decimals. 0.75, 0.166, and this goes on forever, and 0.625. If I look at my tenths place, you should be able to identify quickly which one's big and which one is small. So I'm putting these in order from least to greatest. So which one's the smallest one? It's this number right here, which converts back to 1/6. So right now, looking at my choices, 1/6 is first. But the next place value, my 0.625, is next, because 6/10 is smaller than 7/10. So looking at my choices, choice G and I are the same. So I would have accepted either choice G or I. Okay. All right, and the last question here says, what is 12 8/100 written as a mixed number? So if you think about what we just heard, 12 8/100. We have 12 8/100, and now we need to simplify it. A common factor between these two is 4. So 8 divided by 4, don't forget your 12, that stays the same. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 100 cut into quarters, or cut into 4 parts, is 25. So this should have been your answer, choice D. Choice D. Okay. Here's our last set of questions. What is 3/8 written as a decimal? Well, 3/8 is a division problem. 3 divided by 8. So we set this up, 3 divided by 8. Bring up my decimal, because 8 does not go into 3, but 8 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. When I subtract, I have a remainder of 6. Add another 0. 8 goes into 60. Think about it. How many times does 8 go into 60? 7 times, because 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to run into the last problem here. I have a remainder of 4. I need to add one more 0. 8 goes into 40. 5 times, because 5 times 8 is 40. When I subtract, I get 0. So I have 0.375, which would be choice C. Last but not least, number 18 says, on a recent vote, 1/5 of the class preferred strawberry ice cream, 9/50 of the class preferred vanilla ice cream, and 35% of the class preferred chocolate ice cream. Put these ice cream flavors in order from least preferred to most preferred. A common mistake that I saw here is that you use the numbers instead of actually writing out what the flavors of ice cream. Strategy-wise, what I would do, I could change them all to percents. But looking at this, I know that percents are out of 100. So 1/5 set up equal to a fraction out of 100. 5 times 20 is 100. So 1 times 20 is 20. So 20% preferred strawberry. 9 out of 50? Well, 50 times 2 is 100. And 9 times 2 is 18. 18% preferred vanilla. And 35%, 35 out of 100, preferred chocolate. So looking at these, which one is the smallest? It's 9/50, but you had to use the word vanilla ice cream. So first is vanilla. My second one is 1/5, which is strawberry. And then last, the most preferred was chocolate. So that's how we would put these in order from least preferred to most preferred. I hope this video helped you, and I hope it helps you in the future when you have questions on fractions, decimals, and percents. Thank you for watching. Bye.